Afternoon, I'm Erin Rogers. Thank you for joining us. Well, most of the tenants have their water back on, but the troubles aren't over at Macon's Crystal Lake apartment. We've been reporting this story all week on problems at Crystal Lake, where the water was shut off because management hadn't paid the Macon Water Authority. Well, this morning, water is flowing at most of the 287 units, but the high-rise tower building is still dry and without power. Tenants there told Inslee Nichols that they've had enough and they're moving out after months of problems. They've had problems like mold and elevators that don't work. Well, we will have more on life inside Crystal Lake tonight on 13 WMAZ News at 5 and 6. A man accused of stealing money from Warner Robins Little League is scheduled to appear in court tomorrow. 3 years ago, a Houston County grand jury indicted Joseph Stella on identity theft and fraud charges. Stella, the former president of the Warner Robins American Little League, District Attorney George Hartwig says he stole money from their cash fund. According to Hartwig, Stella is scheduled to appear tomorrow before Houston County Judge Catherine Lumsden. We could not reach Hartwig for further details on the case, but a second Houston County man was also arrested in the case, but apparently was never indicted. Investigators said the two men stole more than $10,000 and used it for home renovations at stores like Lowe's. Well, most of the dining facilities at Georgia College in Milledgeville are back open for lunch this afternoon. University leaders closed all dining halls after learning more than a dozen students reported having stomach problems. The North Central Health District says 13 people connected to the college had symptoms like diarrhea. Health officials have determined the food is not the issue, but they're still continuing to investigate. A 23-year-old Macon man is in jail this afternoon after leading deputies on an early morning chase. The Bibb County Sheriff's Office says Justin Johnson was driving when he didn't obey a traffic signal at Pansy Avenue and Mercer University Drive. Deputies turned on their lights to pull him over, but Johnson did not stop. That's when deputies chased him, ending with Johnson crashing into a tree. Johnson now faces charges of driving without a license, reckless driving, and fleeing and eluding. Johnson's passenger, 31-year-old Brandon Mitchell, also faces charges of littering and obstruction.
Forecast coming up later in the show. Erin, back over to you.
All right, thank you, Hunter. We will definitely enjoy today while we have it. Well, Virginia's political chaos is showing no signs of ending, with the state's top 3 elected officials all embroiled in controversy. Nicole Killian has the latest from Washington, D.C. Well, the next person in line after the scandalized top 3 leaders is Republican House Speaker. He's already said the governor should go, but not the lieutenant governor or attorney general, at least not yet. Well, House committees will begin a series of hearings today set to review the personal finances of President Donald Trump. Committee members discussed today whether presidents should be required to make their tax returns public. The House Intelligence Committee will also launch their own investigation into the alleged collusion between Trump and Russia and whether it was based on personal financial interests. Well, SunTrust Bank is leaving Atlanta after a $66 billion merger with BB&T. The combined company will be the 6th largest U.S. bank, with plans for it to be based out of Charlotte, North Carolina. Now, both companies will be giving shareholders some incentives for the merger, including bumps and dividend payments. The deal is expected to be finished by the end of 2019. Well, right now, a bipartisan group of state lawmakers are pushing for legislation to require more detailed labels of gas pumps for E15 fuel, which is an ethanol-blended gasoline. The mix can cause corrosion and mechanical problems in equipment with small engines. Advocates claim the proposed Consumer Protection and Fuel Transparency Act would better protect engines in boats, motorcycles, cars, and outdoor equipment that's now negatively affected by E15. And if you are hitting the road today, work on 2 Central Georgia roads is expected to wrap up. Well, this includes the trestle overpass at Riverside and Martin Luther King Boulevard behind the Otis Redding statue. Railroad crews say the track should be repaired by 4:30 this afternoon. And in Wilcox County, work on an old pipe on State Route 159 is also finishing up. The pipe is between State Route 90 and State Route 30 near Pitts. Work was originally scheduled to be finished by late January, but weather pushed back construction. Well, moving from the road to the water, a plant in Sandersville can help when environmental disasters happen in the ocean.
Put it into a grinder, and after it's ground, it's put into a box, which is over here, and from there it's pumped into the sleeve and turned into a boom. So it's basically like a big sausage factory, except there's no meat, there's oil-only scrap in there.
Well, this is how melt blown makes booms. Booms are filled with a material that soaks up oil. Just think of it as a giant paper towel for petroleum. The plant employs 55 people and runs 24 hours a day. Friday morning, Suzanne Lawler will take you inside the process of making these giant coils and let you know how they can help out in other situations too. And coming up, a pilot at Robins Air Force Base is soaring to new heights. We'll share her story next when 13 WMAZ News at Midday continues. As we continue the first week of Black History Month, one woman on Robins Air Force Base is celebrating a sky-high accomplishment. Our reporter Wanya Reese shares how First Lieutenant Andrea Lewis is reaching new heights. Well, Lewis is being deployed later this month, where she will be co-piloting and gathering reconnaissance information for missions. But under policy, she can't tell us exactly where she's headed. Well, Hunter, whether you are flying, driving, or even running, you need to do something outside today.
Yeah, you need to get outside, enjoy it today.
You cannot tell me it is not like April, May outside. It is absolutely gorgeous.
I mean, it's been straight up spring break weather for us for the
has.
past few days, but it is still February, and it will feel like February come this weekend.